Welcome to the season finale of At the Music with special guest Gotchy.
And musical guest Swans.
Enjoy the episode. First there was soul, and then there was neo-soul. But what do we do now that neo-soul ain't so neo anymore? Well, Hiatus Kaiyote have the answer with their neo-soul. But Matt, are these freaky-deaky cool cats trying to jive us, or is there some oompa-doompa to their ridgy-didge?
Zac, I'd go so far to say that this album is fair dinkum. Like you'd think because there was so much Grammy heat around Hiatus Kaiyote, especially with that collaboration with Q-Tip.
Yeah, well, they were nominated for a Grammy.
This could have easily just been like, the sophomore pop album, the breakthrough to the top 40. But it's got so much jazz going on.
Yeah.
It's real jazz.
Hiatus Kaiyote is such a good live band.
Incredible.
And so renowned as a live band. And their first record, though it's good, I think didn't capture all the energy of their live show. And I think that this record, although it still doesn't go the whole way to capturing it, does a better job.
It's just a really competent band that have been playing for very many years.
Yeah.
Who've just found their groove.
Definitely a record where you just want to listen to the band play.
Yeah.
And how tight they are. And again, that drummer is just like
so
something
good.
else.
So diverse, the percussion as well. So many different influences, like there's Eastern stuff there, there's African grooves there. For me, it's a full of Zac.
They're a classic Melbourne band at this point. I think they're great. I'm going to give it a 3 Zacs and half a Gotchy.
Gotchy.
Prurient's new album, Frozen Niagara Falls, sees the veteran noisemaker continue his quest for top 40 domination. But can it defeat the eminent listenability of classic singles such as With You? Zac.
Yeah, well, I think for all your joshing about listenability, I think this is actually a listenable Prurient record compared to
It's
some
an
other.
improvement, yeah.
Yeah, there's a record of his called Black Vase that I have that has the first 15 minutes of that are the hardest thing I've ever had to listen to.
Actively unpleasant.
Yeah, this record actually does to some extent. It's very diverse in its sonic palette. And he brings in like acoustic guitars, like 80s film score kind of, and 70s film score kind of synths and soundtracks. It's got this very kind of creepy overtones to it. It's not just like deafening noise, not just like an affront the whole way through. It's very sinister and soft at points. I would go so far as to say quite beautiful at points with some really lovely passages in there.
Kind of verbal poetic passages where he's talking about like, you didn't want to hurt anyone, you just wanted to disappear. It's almost like, some guys communicating with nature and trying to sort of reach, I guess, some form of absolution.
There is a sense of him getting on top of himself and like catharsis to the entire record of him like finding himself. He's been making noise music and now techno and such diverse music for 10 years now. He's got such control of so many different sounds, so purely sonically to your ears. This guy's a real master. Prurient's amazing. I'm a big fan. I'm going to give this 4 Zacs and half a Gotchy.
Gotchy.
And that's 4 Zacs for me.
Sometimes artists like to change their name so you remember what band they're in, from Joey Ramone to Axl Rose to Jeff Bob Dylan. So on his debut solo album, Jamie XX reminds us that he's more than a member of the XX, but also a guy who calls himself Jamie XX. Matt, am I just fooled by the rocks that he's got, or is he still Jamie from the block? And also Jamie from the XX?
I don't think Jamie XX has much experience with blocks, other than maybe in his capacity as a landlord. A lot of the elements on this album have just kind of been phoned in a little bit. I mean, he's taken elements from fringe elements of music that he obviously enjoys, but sort of watered it down a little bit into this.
Oh my God. The whole thing has this like my first rave kind of mentality to it. There's no innovation, there's no sense of personality other than when he's bringing in the vocalists from the XX, and then it just sounds like the XX B-sides. I mean, the best tracks on it sound like they'd be like decent like track 7 interludes, and the worst tracks on it are terrible. It made me angry. I'm sitting there, and for one of the shortest records that we've reviewed on this show, I was so bored by the half-hour mark.
For me, it's a fluff piece for people with no musical imagination.
People are calling it a masterpiece, and people are wrong.
I want to hear what you give it, Zac.
I mean, look, it's a 2 Zacker. It's a 2 Zac record.
I'm also going to have to give it 2 Zacs.
Well, that's our season.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our musical guest,
Swans!